Hey everybody, welcome back to the Old Swedes Farm. It's Rich. Want to do a video on chicken coop security. I saw another post the other day, and I'm on several chicken or part of chicken groups on Facebook, Instagram, you name it, there's a bunch out there. And I saw one where a gal wanted to know what's the best camera to use because she's lost 15 chickens over the past week to a raccoon. I'm thinking, why are you worried about getting it on camera versus why not fix the problem or get rid of the problem? And I see, you get a comment like that, hey, we're losing a bunch of chickens, and then you see what their coop looks like, and it's a couple of, 4 or 5 pallets and some chicken wire. Well, it's fine if you want to do something on the cheap, but your security is going to be on the cheap too. So I want to show you what we do, what we've done to guarantee that our girls are safe. Now, either you've got chickens because you want them as pets, or you've got chickens because you want production. We want production. I can put a value, and I do put a value on our girls. If they're laying, our girls are on average about 250 eggs a year. So let's just say it's 240 eggs a year. There's 20 dozen eggs that they're laying per girl per year. We sell them for $5. There's $100. Each chicken can provide $100 or a little more of revenue per year for our farm. Okay, $100. We've got, 88 chickens, I think, right now. You know what? That's a lot of money tied up in chickens. And if I've got a raccoon that's coming by or whatever, he could really financially impact our farm. So I wanted to run you through what we did. We tried to, when we started, we tried to build Fort Knox. I did not want to lose a chicken at all. And so we spent some money. We took security, the investment of security, securing our girls, very serious. Here's our outdoor coop. This is where the girls, our littles right now, are out in the barn, and I'll take you there and show you the security there. But they used to be year-round here, our chickens, but as our flock grew, they moved to the barn. But I want to show you what our chicken coop and run look like. Now, our chicken coop is inside here. We're using the coop right now to keep the chickens out, as we've got plants in here. We're still keeping some of our vegetables before we plant them, so that's why there's garden tools and stuff in here. But in a few weeks, the littles will be out here. Inside is the coop, and the entrance to the coop is inside. And then we've got this run, 14 by 18 run, where the girls can run around before they free range. Here's what we've got. I'll start right at the bottom. The entire coop is built on cement block. I think they're 6-inch tall. They're like 14 inches wide, or 14 inches long, and about 8 inches wide. Underneath that, I found a spot where the grass and weeds isn't as thick. You can see hardware cloth. It's sitting right at the edge of the block, all the way out. It's stapled out 3 feet. So I've got hardware cloth underground, block on top of it, and then you see 2x4 construction with in between hardware cloth sandwiched in between. 3-foot panels of hardware cloth. Now, we used hardware cloth for a number of reasons. The first is strength. Chicken wire, chicken mesh fencing, and I've got some of that. I'll show you just so I can show you what I'm talking about. I've got this around our asparagus. You can see, let me bring it out here. This stuff, chicken wire. Some people are using that. I don't know. That's a mistake in my book. Anything that wants to get through that can get through that. You can bend it, you can rip it, they can bite through it. I'm talking about, when I talk predators, maybe I should have started with this. We've got fox, coyote, raccoons, skunk, mink, martins, hawks, wild dogs, wild feral cats. We've got a lot of predators who wouldn't mind taking out a chicken, and that chicken stuff is intended to keep chickens out of, like our garden here with the asparagus. It is not intended to keep predators from getting into your chicken coop. It will not do the trick. I guarantee it. And if you see someone on Facebook that's lost a bunch of chickens, most of the time they've got that. They've got the chicken wire. Hardware cloth. This is your way to go. It is more expensive, but you got to think about what you're going to have as far as security, right? One of my girls wants to help with the video. 2x4 construction, strong. They can't knock it over. Hardware cloth, you can't get through. We've got it sandwiched between the 2x4s, maybe a little overkill, but I think it's worth it. There's no way they're going to get in here. Now the hardware cloth we've got underground, they're not going to, well, if they really wanted to, if a raccoon was really hungry, it could dig underneath the cement block. It would be about a foot they'd have to dig sideways to get in. They'd have to go down and through. Could they do it? You bet. That hardware cloth, they hit that right away, they're going to stop digging. They'd have to come out 3 feet, dig down, go under. That's not going to happen. So that hardware cloth under the ground stops them right there. The hardware cloth here is going to stop them 100%. I've seen some other places where they've got hardware cloth and it's just stapled on the inside of wood. One thing to look out for is if it's a big enough animal and it pushes and pushes, all that's holding it in there is the staple. And if you're stapling, you know, every 6 inches or so, you know what? You can create a gap pretty quick. If one staple fails, you're in. So just, I would put it on the outside. If you're only going to do one layer, I would put the chicken wire on the outside and I would staple it, you know, maybe every 4 inches, really provide, at the corners, you know, even more, maybe every 2 inches, just to provide that bond. And if they push, most predators are going to push versus grabbing something and pulling it. That's just not their instinct. It's just to push to get into something. So I would say put it on the outside. They're going to push on it, and the staples will hold more pushing versus pulling. Hope that makes sense. One other thing I didn't mention about the chicken wire, the gaps are pretty good in there, and a raccoon comes and one of your chickens is right near the edge, it can reach through that chicken wire really quick and grab a chicken by the head and pull that head out and start chowing on that, or keep pulling on the bird till it's dead. And they get a part of a chicken. I've seen that where the body's inside but the head's ripped off. The raccoons ripped it right through the chicken wire, taking the head off and eating that. So we've got everything with hardware cloth, 1/2-inch hardware cloth. That will even prevent snakes from getting in. Now, we don't have venomous snakes here in Minnesota, or at least in my part of Minnesota we don't. But if you've got venomous snakes, you need to make sure that everything is covered. For our coop, there's no way that any predator is getting inside. Now let me take you out to the barn and show you, well, and also, if you see, we've got a roof on our coop. There's a roof on the coop, and that is for obviously protection from the snow, rain, but also aerial predators. You know, keep it open at night. An owl could get in there. Now, we moved everybody out to the barn. They've been out here, so let me take you in the barn here. Let me spin you around. It's hard to, well, let me show you over here. We've got our indoor dust bath. I've got cinder block. Now, the cinder block is what you're seeing. It makes it look like, oh, that's an easy entrant, but there were some gaps in the foundation of the barn big enough where a small predator could get in. What we did was put some of that cinder block vertically against the gap, so it's down, and then I've got these cinder blocks sitting, and there goes a mouse. We've got these cinder blocks sitting sideways so that the girls can climb on top of it and not fall into the hole. So the lower level is against the gap, plugging that gap. The ones on top are providing some extra weight. The rest of the barn, you know, has enough to it that there is no gap. There was one gap inside where the indoor coop, where the littles are right now, and you can see in the back there that I put a 2x4, just screwed in a 2x4 to cover that gap. So look, Holly's coming with a bunch of food, and look at all her friends. So our indoor coop that we've got, this is where the littles are until they get to a certain size. It keeps them separate from the others. That's all hardware cloth and 2x4s as well. So good security. Now, one of the biggest gaps that we had a big gap, and it's the door. It's the door itself. The door has to stay open during the day and has to close at night, but the people who had it didn't think about having chickens. So you can see the barn door. There's our little new door that's installed, but the barn door itself sits about, I don't know, 4 inches, 5 inches above the ground, and there was a big gap where coons and such could get in. What we built was this little trough, a 2x4 with 2x6s on both sides. Now at night, when we close up, right now we've got, like I said, the littles are in there, and I needed a run for the littles to be able to get outside. So we moved the trough during the day. But at night when we close everything up, this trough goes right where the door will run. From side to side, it fits exactly snug against the door opening side to side, and then the door itself slides in that little trench. Could a small snake get under there and kind of go under the U? Yes. Can a raccoon, can anything else? No. Nothing of size can get in there. The door fits very snugly in there. And then, as you can see, underneath the trench, there's cinder block underneath in the ground. So there's nothing that's going to get in there. So a little long-winded on this one, but I hope this makes sense. We just take security so serious, and I should say we take serious our security during the day and at night. At night, it's Fort Knox. At night, out in the other coop, it's 100%. During the day, our only thing is these girls. They're out free-ranging. With free-ranging, our yard is not fenced. We're open to everything. That's the only gap in our security. And other than a dome, I can't solve that piece. But have we lost a chicken to a hawk? Yes. Has one run out into or a couple run out into the street and gotten run over? Yep. Has a fox come in the yard and nabbed one in the early evening? Yep. Feral cat? Yep. We've lost probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 chickens over the many years we've had chickens, and that's the only thing. It's during the day. Can I fence in the entire yard? I want to, and then put a gate across there because I'd like to get some bigger animals. That still won't solve the hawk or eagle issue. So our security is not 100%, but the benefits of free ranging vastly outweigh the risk that the girls, over the many years to lose 6 or 8. I think that's a good risk. All our littles See, the littles are out and the bigs are out. They're separated by the chicken wire fence. That's a good use of chicken wire, keeps them apart versus using that for security. If you've got questions on security or some ideas or something maybe I missed or a question, drop it down below. Love to help you out. We just do our best to keep these girls safe and secure, and some of those tips, some of those ideas have really benefited us. So hopefully I'm not too long-winded here, but thanks for watching. Drop your notes down below if you've got a question. Thanks everybody, take care.